What is good, Josh on the Spool Game Man? Back with yet another reaction video, baby. And today we are back with that Anime Tuesday, man. Today we have one of the newest videos here from NCMer, Naruto's strongest parent and child duos. Ranked to explain. I'm gonna go ahead and jump into this one because y'all know Naruto is my number one as far as all the anime knowledge that I have. Is number one. It's the most that I have, the most knowledgeable of anime that I have. You know, that's personal to me. See the three different anime statues back there: Itachi, Neji, Naruto, all in plain view. But let me know what you guys think about this, man. If you guys want more Anime Tuesdays to keep coming out or just more days of anime content, let your boy know down below in the comment section, as well as like and subscribe so I can see you guys showing the support to these anime videos. We're going to get to them soon. So, I mean, 2025 is supposed to be a big year of anime. I mean, Solo Leveling has recently just been dropping. Black Clover's been confirmed to be supposed to be coming back. Boruto's coming soon. The Demon Slayer movies are coming out. A bunch of, like, obviously non-mainstream animes are going to continuously drop throughout the year, and I'm getting caught up on all of them. So, if you guys want to be along with my journey, want me guys to show you what my journey is like, let me know. I can post like little shorts and stuff like that of just like what I'm doing as far as my anime journey. If you guys want to see that content, I'll definitely bring it to you guys. So let me go ahead and hop off my soapbox here today. Strongest parent-child duos. I mean, obviously I feel like it depends. Even if they go back to just Naruto and no Boruto characters at all, stuff like Naruto Minato was probably number one, and Sasuke and Fugaku would be number two. But let's see how the rest of the list shakes out, though. I'm interested to see what the rest of the, I'm guessing, top 10 look like.
Parents. In the anime world, they're not always guaranteed. In fact, when it comes down to parents in the anime world, pretty much the only guarantee is you probably won't see them that often. And that is absolutely true in the Naruto universe. So whether it's Sasuke, Naruto, Rock Lee, or Sakura, having your parents around doesn't really seem like much of an option. And this is because of the golden anime rule once highlighted to us by Oda that parents are antithetical to the idea of dreams, which is a weirdly positive way to rebrand orphans, but is also slightly unfortunate, at least in the Naruto universe. See, because, well, yes, if Naruto had a loving family home that he was raised in, would he have been a very different character that probably wouldn't have tried to achieve as much as he did in his own timeline? 100%. However, the fact that we had to wait until the fourth Friendship World War to see Naruto and Minato team up together as two pillars of ridiculous strength is kind of a shame. And the thing is, Naruto and Minato are actually kind of lucky in the regard that they ever got to team up at all. See, kind of like LeBron and Bronny James, it's very rare for a father to stick around in the ninja world long enough to be able to team up with his son one day. But that's a shame, because so many parent-child duos inside the Naruto universe would be insanely broken. And while we did get to see some of them come into fruition, the vast majority we didn't, which is why today I want to talk about those duos. The strongest possible combinations of a parent and a child in the Naruto world. Because today we're talking the top 10 strongest parent-child duos in Naruto. But before we get to ranking anything, guys, please, like the video, subscribe to the page, and hit that noti bell. So,
the very interesting part, before we get into this, let me know your prediction down below. Will we see any non-Leaf Village Shinobis in this list? I don't know.
There are a lot of possibly legendary parent-child duos in the Naruto universe. Because even though Hagoromo at the end of the story said your parents don't matter, you have to become who you have to become based off your own merit, a lot of the powerful characters in Naruto have powerful parents. Or powerful grandparents. See, because whether it's Shisui and Kagami, or Great Ichigo and Sasori, Hashirama and Tsunade lineage seems somewhat important in the Naruto universe. And therefore, in order to keep this list at a comfortable 10 entries, we're gonna lay down a couple of rules here. Actually, really just one rule. In order to be considered for this list, duos have to be biologically related and only one generation apart. That is to say, that we're only considering fathers and mothers of their own children. And a lot of you might be thinking, oh, Nick, that seems like a redundant rule. Of course, if we're talking about parent-child duos, we're only gonna talk about parent-child duos. But essentially what I'm saying here is I'm not taking into consideration grandparents and their grandchildren. So you won't see Kagami and Shisui, you won't see Hashirama and Tsunade, you won't see Great Ichigo and Sasori. And I won't be taking into consideration people like Tsunade, Shisui, or Sasori's parents because we don't know who they are. On top of that, we also won't be using adoptive children. So you won't be seeing people like Gaara and Shinki or Naruto and Kawaki. And with those rules out of the way, that's...
Oh, so we are including Boruto. So then Naruto and Boruto probably also... Naruto's gonna be on this list twice, pretty much. And probably Sasuke.
everything. So let's get into the list. Now, I know that I just said that you won't be seeing Gaara and Shinki, but that doesn't mean that you're not going to be seeing Gaara and his father, Rasa. Because that is exactly who we have coming up at our number 10 spot. And the fact that two separate Kazekage working together at our number 10 spot should put into perspective just how insane this list gets.
And I already broke it already. So we have a non-leaf village shinobi, which I should have guessed the same would be in there too, but are we going to see anybody from any of the other 3 villages? Let's see.
Feats for both of these characters are relatively insane. More insane for Gaara than they are for Rasa. But still, Rasa's got some pretty crazy feats. See, obviously Gaara was able to accomplish things like stopping one of Madara's meteors, protecting the entirety of the Hidden Sand Village from one of Datara's C3 bombs, sealing away multiple Kage level threats in the 4th grade Shinobi World War with his magnet release enhanced sand prisms, one of which was his actual father, Rasa, being so beloved by Shikaku that even after Shikaku was extracted from him, Shikaku continued to allow him to control sand, and in Boruto, Gaara's feats got even more impressive, as he went toe-to-toe with the likes of Oroshiki and was able to seal him in a Grand Sand Mausoleum for a couple of hours, mind you, after being weakened by Oroshiki's chakra fishing rod thing, and if say, oh, that's anime canon, oh, that doesn't count. Well, Gaara also went toe-to-toe with Kinshiki in a winning fight and was able to dodge and block attacks from a fused Momoshiki. While he later got absolutely trounced by a fused Momoshiki, the fact that he was even involved in that fight in the first place talks about how incredibly strong he is in the Boruto universe. While he may not be having the greatest time right now in Two Blue Vortex, that shouldn't take away from the sheer amount of ridiculous feats that we've seen from Gaara. I mean, at 13 years old, he covered an entire battlefield with sand and casted sand coffin on the entire thing to kill Orochimaru's golden child. And without a version 2 curse mark transformation, Kimimaro would have died right there. Now, unfortunately, we know a lot less about Rasa than we do about Gaara, because Rasa's killed by Orochimaru prior to the Konoha Crush arc, and while some people will use this point to argue that Rasa was weaker than Orochimaru because Orochimaru killed Rasa, it was a surprise feat, so we can't necessarily use that as a metric to gauge how powerful Rasa was. What we absolutely can use to gauge how powerful Rasa was, though, however, is the fact that on multiple different occasions, Rasa was able to seal away the full power of Shikaku when it raged out of Gaara. And while Shikaku is by far and away not the most powerful tailed beast, in fact, some people will tell you he's the weakest, being able to 1v1 any of the tailed beasts is a feat that less than 20 or so people could accomplish in the Naruto universe. Sure, Rasa's gold dust kit was advantageous in battle against Shikaku, as Rasa was able to simply incorporate his heavier element gold into the sand body of Shikaku and use it to seal away his powers. But if we're disqualifying feats against tailed beasts because the user has an advantageous skill set in battle against tailed beasts, well, then we can't say that Hashirama sealing the other 8 tailed beasts with his wood release is all that impressive, can we? Outside of this, obviously, prior to his death, Rasa was the most powerful person in the Hidden Sand Village. And as a born magnet release user coming from the Kazekage family, that makes a fair amount of sense. Since we're talking about 2 Kage from the same family, let's move to our number 9 spot, which is A, also known as the 3rd and 4th Raikage.
Already, I got proven wrong on both my points. I really didn't think we'd see anybody from the other villages. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, I thought there was at least a little bit of a hint of a sand village, like a 5% chance, but I did not. I saw like a literally less than 1% chance of anybody else. Good word.
In a lot of villages, the role of Kage is slightly hereditary. Inoki is the grandfather of Korotsuchi. The 3rd Raikage is the father of the 4th Raikage. Rasa is the father of Gaara. Hell, the first 2 Hokage were brothers. And the 5th Hokage was the granddaughter of the 1st Hokage. Now, this is mostly because time and time again in the Naruto universe, it's been proven that strong people make strong babies. And therefore, those people who are strong enough to become a Kage later create children who are also strong enough to become a Kage. And that case is no different in the Hidden Cloud. However, just because the 3rd and 4th Raikage are father and son doesn't mean that their movesets are completely identical. Well, both of the A's use the Raikage special of the lightning cloak that involves things like their lightning lariat and their hell stab. The 3rd Raikage's bag was a bit deeper than the 4th's. See, because while yes, the 3rd Raikage was known as the perfect shield for his stand in the 3rd Great Shinobi World War against 10,000 shinobis by himself, he was able to fend off this army for 72 hours using the defensive capability of his lightning cloak and the offensive capability of his hell stab. The 3rd Raikage was also known for his usage of a technique that the 4th Raikage never uses, and that ability is none other than Black Lightning. Now we're not entirely sure how Black Lightning differs from regular lightning release. However, we know that Black Lightning was created by the 3rd Raikage and passed down to Darui, who uses it in the 4th Great Shinobi World War. And through the usage of Black Lightning, Darui is able to do things like lightning release Black Panther, which is essentially just Lightning Beast Tracking Fang, but with Black Lightning. That is to say that Darui creates a Black Panther out of lightning and then launches it at enemies. However, while we don't know a huge amount about Black Lightning, we know that being able to use it is an honor, as Darui has a kanji tattoo on his shoulder that matches that of the third Raikage's that denotes that he has the honor of actually being able to use this jutsu. Now, in terms of feats, both the third and fourth Raikage's lists are pretty insane. The third Raikage is obviously most well known for covering the retreat of the Hidden Cloud army that was on its way back to the Land of Lightning in the 72-hour battle against 10,000 shinobi that earned him the moniker of the Perfect Shield. But on top of this, the third Raikage is also well known for going toe-to-toe with the likes of Gyuki, one of the strongest tailed beasts in existence, one-on-one whenever it would rage out of Blue Beat. And the fact that the reason that Gyuki has one of its horns chopped off is because the third Raikage, sliced it off in one of their 1v1 battles. So all that is to say that the third Raikage is as strong as Gyuki, in arguably the second strongest tailed beast out. And that's kind of insane. And the fourth Raikage falls into a similar camp. The fourth Raikage is considered to be as powerful as Killer Bee. We know that they're equally powerful because the fourth Raikage is the other half of a double lariat equation with Killer Bee, and therefore, if the fourth Raikage wasn't able to equal Killer Bee's power, then their double lariat wouldn't work. On top of this, after the death of Minato, the fourth Raikage is considered the fastest person on Earth, and he holds on to that title because of his lightning cloak until Naruto unlocks KCM-1. And the fourth Raikage's strength and speed was so well respected across the entirety of the ninja world that he was literally placed in charge of the Shinobi Alliance. Now, feats-wise, he actually didn't accomplish all that much in the Fourth Great Shinobi World War, but we do see when Sasuke pulls up on the Five Kage Summit that he slaps the taste out of Sasuke's mouth. So while his feats aren't technically as impressive as the third Raikage's, this is a man that went toe-to-toe with the likes of Minato and fought him to a relative draw. And that's saying something. We know a lot more about the fourth Raikage than we do about one half of the equation of our number 8 entry, because coming up at number 8, we got Sakumo Hatake and Kakashi Hatake. Now, some of you might already be rattling your cages saying,
Nick, how are you gonna put Kakashi and Sakumo this low?
But trust me, they need to be this low.
Yeah, I mean, I'm honestly surprised they're above the third or fourth Raikage, if we really being honest. But I mean, a lot of people put like a lot of strength for Kakashi in the temporary EMS that he had. And they say that he got stronger after the Sharingan went away. I'm on the camp that's kind of like, I don't know if I technically agree. I don't know if I really agree with that. Of course, stamina-wise, he's got an ability to fight longer, but stronger is a different question. To me, it's kind of like, But Sakumo apparently, based off, without seeing feats, what we hear about his feats that are accepted, dude was a dog.
Obviously, Sakumo Hatake is the king of the what-ifs in the Naruto universe. He's the White Fang of the Leaf, the original run-on-site order ninja, even though he technically never actually had a run-on-site order. Minato's the only person who ever had an official run-on-site order. But people were terrified of Sakumo Hatake to the point where when they saw Kakashi hopping around as a child, they're like,
oh my god, is that Sakumo Hatake?
But then they're like, no. That's a kid. And also, Sakumo Hatake is dead. Anyways, as the king of what if, Sakumo Hatake is one of the most talked about people in the Naruto universe because it was established that at one point, Sakumo Hatake was stronger than all of the 3 legendary Sannin combined. On top of that, during the Second Great Shinobi World War, Sakumo Hatake was responsible for the offensive marched into the Land of Wind that killed Sasori's parents. And therefore, we know that Sakumo Hatake came into combat against legends like Granny Chiyo and maybe even Hanzo the Salamander. Considering the only person who could kill Sakumo Hatake was that means Sakumo Hatake scales the people like Prime Granny Chiyo, one of the strongest ninjas in Naruto history. So you can kind of understand why he's known as the king of what-ifs. But fortunately, all the questions that we ever needed answered about Kakashi got answered. Kakashi's list of feats is a mile long. He fought Zabuza, the Demon of the Mist, to a standstill. Twice. Took out dozens of Hidden Sand Shinobi during the Konoha Crush arc. Battled against Nagato and Itachi in albeit losing efforts, but still, he was in the fight. Has battled against perfect clones of Jiraiya and Kashin Koji. Recreated Madara's Sage Art Purple Lightning attack with his own Purple Lightning version of Chidori that doesn't require the Sharingan. Unlocked DMS in the Fourth Great Shinobi World War that gave him access to the strongest Susanoo we've ever seen. The ability to pop shuriken in and out of the dimension that they're in to appear behind people and slice them in half. Speed Blitz Kaguya for one of the only clean hits anybody landed on her. Tried during the 4th Great Shinobi World War to warp off the head of the Ten Tails using Kamui. And like, maybe would have been able to do it. It's fair to say that without Kakashi, Team 7 wouldn't have been victorious in the battle against Kaguya. And the worlds would have been destroyed. And when Kakashi no longer has access to that form, or the Sharingan of any kind, it's been established now that the chakra suck of the Sharingan, that Kakashi's chakra pool has increased multiple times over, to the point where he was able to maintain a quartz-enhanced mud wall around an entire village for 12 hours while the village was being bombarded with cannon attacks. I mean, Kakashi put out an infinite water source created by Hagoromo using a Fire Phoenix ability. Kage Kakashi is different. So Nick, why are him and Sakumo so low on this list? Well, because coming up at our number 7 spot, we have Might Dai and Might Guy.
Oh, Nick, there's no way you're putting Might Dai and Might Guy above Sock.
And I actually can't agree with this. You talking about 2 people that can achieve the 8th gate? Now, barring it kills them when they're done. But the 8th gate almost really actually should have, if it wasn't for plotting them wanting somebody else to do it, probably should have killed Madara. Would kill anybody, especially if you're killing Madara in Jubi Madara form, mind you, Ten Tails form. Yeah, 2 of them, not just one, but they can both unlock 8 gates. And the 8th gate Might Die took out basically all the ninja swordsmen. What was it, 5 of the 7 of the hidden ninja swordsmen? So yeah, they might have eclipsed that, but and only for the fact that they both have 8 gates. Now, obviously, I don't know if then Rock Lee and Might Guy are going to be in this, because I mean, I don't think that's just, it's not that he just admires him that much. So obviously, we're not going to see that connection here later. But those 2 right there, yeah, they surprised Kakashi and Sakumo.
Akumo and Kakashi.
Yeah, I am. Listen, I understand that Might Guy isn't exactly much of a threat nowadays. Might Dai and Might Guy have some of the highest peaks we've ever seen in Naruto, point blank period. Now sure, both of these scenarios absolutely would have come at the cost of their lives, because Might Dai, even though he was referred to as the Eternal Genin because of his inability to ever pass the tuning exams, even well into his adulthood, was able to save Might Guy and the rest of his Genin team from the 7 Swordsmen of the Mist. On top of this, mind you, the strongest ever iteration of the 7 Swordsmen of the Mist. This iteration of the 7 Swordsmen of the Mist were said to be so powerful that they could literally overturn a country by themselves. I mean, we're talking about a national level fighting force. However, when they cornered Might Guy's Genin team on a spy mission into the Hidden Mist, Might Dai was there to save the day. And he did so by activating his 8th gate. And while the anime would tell you that Might Dai only killed 4 out of the 7 Swordsmen of the Mist on that day, the manga, which I trust more in this circumstance, would tell you that Might Dai killed 6 out of 7 of the Swordsmen of the Mist, leaving the only member of the strongest generation of the 7 Swordsmen of the Mist alive being Fuguki, the wielder of Samehada, who was later cut down by Kisame anyways, so it wasn't like surviving did him all that much good. And while it's basically the only feat we have for Might Dai, that's a pretty good feat. But the list of feats that we have for Might Guy is about as long as the list of feats we have for Kakashi. Like Kakashi took out dozens of Jonin in the Konoha Crush arc, battled against Kisame 3 separate times, and eventually came out victorious against the dude who was named the Tailless-Tailed Beast, one of the strongest members of the Akatsuki. And while sure he had to open to the 7th gate to defeat Kisame without Samehada, he still won. Add that into the fact that Madara, undoubtedly one of the strongest ninjas in the history of Naruto's entire timeline, who dedicated his entire life to combat, acknowledged that Might Guy was the greatest taijutsu user he ever fought. And Might Guy, with the opening of 8th Gate, was able to bend space-time with a kick that kicked a hole in Madara that without plot armor, he wouldn't have healed from. And for all intents and purposes, we can say that for a small amount of time, Might Guy was on equal fighting grounds with one Rinnegan Jubidara, an entity with so much strength that Hagoromo feared that he would reach his level of strength. So yeah, the combined forces of the only 2 people we've ever seen awaken to the 8th Gate would be something fearsome. And while I can make the argument that if Might Dai and Might Guy were battling against Sakumo Hatsuke and Kakashi Hatsuke, that if they opened to the 8th gate, Kakashi could just warp himself and his father into the Kamui dimension to wait for a little bit until the 2 of them died from overexposure from the 8th gate, that's disingenuous to the conversation surrounding their true level of power. But enough about these relative side characters.
And can we really stop? Can we keep, like, really? Kakashi could just warp them away. First of all, Kakashi didn't even get the warping ability till like the paint art. He can only warp stuff away from him. And he only had the dual MS I mean, and obviously, and I'm just going to use just for 30 seconds, basically. You know, for a very short time, he had it for just that fight, and not even the full length of the fight. And it was gifted to him. It's not like he worked to earn it and then just lost it. He got it gifted to him because Obito was like, "Here, use the last of my chakra so I can go to the Pure Lands real quick." Like, he's not gonna have it for that fight. I get that's the strongest fight we've ever seen him, but Obito can't gift him no more chakra, gang. We just have to use Hokage level Kakashi, and he can't warp nothing. So he gonna get warped by that kid.
So let's get to our main cast here, because coming up at number 6, we have Fugaku and Sasuke. Now listen.
What? Now you got me hooked. 5 other father-son combos stronger. Is Itachi and Fugaku gonna count? But even still, to say Sasuke and Fugaku lower than Itachi and Fugaku? But he did mention something about Boruto, so I mean, we still would probably have Naruto and Boruto, Sasuke and Sadara. Fugaku, Itachi, Naruto, and Minato. That's the only other. That's only 4. There's still one more that we missing in. Hagoromo and Kaguya?
A rule that I forgot to mention at the beginning of this video is that I'm only going to be using one iteration of a parent and their child. I recognize that Fugaku and Itachi would also be a great pick here, but I'm only going to be talking about a parent and their strongest child, and Sasuke is Fugaku's strongest child. Now, unfortunately, kind of like Sakamo Hatsuki, we don't know a whole lot about Fugaku's life. We know that Fugaku was in consideration for replacing Hiruzen as the 4th Hokage. We know that he was considered to have an equal status on the battlefield as Minato during the Third Great Shinobi World War, which does loosely imply a flee-on-sight order of some kind, though it's never officially stated. And we know that Fugaku is referred to as the Wicked Eye Fugaku, which is a moniker most likely given to him because of his exploits on the battlefield that apparently were so incredibly impressive that he was elected as the head of the Uchiha clan, which seems to imply that during his time alive, he was the strongest Uchiha in the Uchiha clan, which is the only confirmed MS user in the Uchiha clan at that time outside of Shisui and Itachi makes a fair amount of sense. So if we assume that Fugaku was somewhere in the region of Minato's power level, he is a resilient and powerful entry on this list of powerful father-son duos. But obviously not as powerful as the deuteragonist of Naruto's entire story.
That's why I'm surprised
Sasuke. See, because while yes, Fugaku may have been a DMS wielder, Sasuke was not only an EMS wielder, but also an EMS and 6-tome Rinnegan wielder. In terms of feats, Sasuke has done literally everything. He was 50% responsible for sealing Kaguya and a secondary moon in her own dimension. He was temporary host of all 9-tailed beasts, making him a pseudo 10-tails Jinchuriki that battled against Naruto in the Valley of the End. He was able to go toe-to-toe with that version of Naruto using things like Indra's arrow to cancel out some of the biggest Rasen Shuriken tailed beast ball combinations we've ever seen. He diced the meteor in a literal second, saving Konoha from annihilation. He established in a light novel that he believed he'd be able to go one-on-one with a Kaguya level threat, and then kind of proved it while fighting Kinshiki and Momoshiki simultaneously. He boxed with fused Momoshiki in base right alongside Naruto, and while he got absolutely thrown around by the likes of Jigen and Ishiki, at least he was in the fight. On top of that, he finished off the battle between Shin Uchiha and Sakura, his wife, even though Shin Uchiha is probably roughly as strong as Madara was when Madara was alive, and he alongside Naruto boxed one Rinnegan Jubidara into a corner, while also being 50% responsible for pulling all 9 of the tailed beasts out of Jubito. He was able to cover an entire battlefield in Amaterasu flames by combining it with a giant Rasen Shuriken from Naruto, and he's the reason that the 4th Raikage had to learn to wipe with another hand. The deuteragonist of this story, and obviously ridiculously powerful. But that only gets him to the number 6 spot on this list. At least for the moment. Because coming up at number 5, we have the only logical next entry on this list you could possibly think of, in Minato and Naruto. Yes, the combination of
the strongest character. Number 5? Oh, yeah, I gotta see what 4 are you putting above this. It's gotta include Boruto characters at this point, because it's gotta include Naruto and Boruto, Sasuke, Sadara, Hagoromo, Kaguya. Who else? Shikamaru and Shikadai? I don't know.
Minato and Naruto are absolutely stronger than the combination of Sasuke and Fugaku, and my god, am I now just realizing that us not getting Fugaku back to life in the 4th Great Shinobi World War was a robbing Like, why not use that as an opportunity to flesh him out as a character? We did it for Rasa. Anyways, when it comes down to it, by the time that the fourth Great Shinobi World War rolled around, Minato and Naruto were basically the same person. Minato popped out of Edo Tensei with a perfect Toad Sage mode and KCM 2. And the only difference between Minato and Naruto at that point is that Minato could use Flying Raijin, which should have technically made Minato stronger than Naruto, but because Naruto is half Uzumaki and the reincarnation of Asura, and also the main character of the story, Naruto ended up being stronger. However, honestly, if we just want to talk about the feats of both of these two during the Fourth Great Shinobi World War, that alone would be enough to justify them being in the 5 spot. I mean, Minato was able to teleport multiple thousands of members of the Shinobi Alliance outside of a 4-walled seal created by 4 Kage that was built specifically to make sure that the 10
Oh, yeah, I think. Somebody want a door?
Tails wouldn't be able to go anywhere, but when the 10 Tails was like, I'm just gonna bomb the inside of this, Minato literally had to teleport thousands of people outside of the barrier to make sure that they didn't go up in flames, and he did it. That is a Barry Allen teleporting an entire city out from under a nuclear explosion to a hill miles away level feat. On top of that, during the Fourth Great Shinobi World War, Minato found himself in multiple, very tight spots against crazy high-level opponents, like Jubito and Jubidara, both of which he was instrumental in the defeat of. Tie that into Minato's feats that he had long before he got a KCM 2 form, like being the only official ninja in the entirety of Naruto's history to get a fleet on site order, being elected as the 4th Hokage as the youngest ever Hokage, 1v1ing Obito and Kurama in the same night and basically winning both fights, and also stalemating Killer B and A simultaneously in combat. And Minato's got one of the most impressive list of feats out of anybody in the Naruto universe. And do I really need to do a rundown on what Naruto accomplished in his own story? He boxed Fused Momoshiki one-on-one, tanked an attack from Toneri that cut a moon in half, activated Baryon mode and put a beat down on Ishii, the strongest being we've ever seen.
Baryon mode alone solos everybody on this list. So how he's not number 1, I don't know.
In the Naruto universe, half the reason that Kaguya was sealed, just like with Sasuke, was half the equation that boxed one Rinnegan Jubidara into a corner, befriended the evil half of one of the most powerful entities in existence in Kurama, 1v1'd the 6 paths of pain and won, and basically everything else that happened to Naruto. He is the spoon that stirs the drink. That's why the story's named after him. But enough about Naruto. Let's get back to what many people would identify as the real main character of Naruto, Sasuke. But this time we're talking about Sasuke and Sarada.
Are you saying that Sarada's more powerful than Fugaku?
I mean, maybe not yet, but she will be. On top of that, technically Fugaku's MS isn't canon. Sarada's is. I'm sorry, Fugaku's MS is canonized by the light novels. I apologize for spreading misinformation. Sarada's MS is newer.
Accountability.
Which helps. And on top of that, Sarada has feats. Not only was Sarada one of the youngest people to ever awaken an MS, whose abilities we don't quite know yet, but she was also responsible for the defeat of one of the inners of Kara in Boro, as her Chidori that ripped through Boro's core was the only reason that Boro was ever put in a situation to lose control of his body. And while yes, Boroshiki would be the one responsible for the technical defeat of Boro, Sarada's Chidori was absolutely very helpful. On top of this, Sarada has shown the ability to dodge attacks from Hidari and land what should have been a fatal blow on him, and that's a Divine Tree version of her father with dual Rinnegans. And she's also about to be involved in a very important fight against Matsuri and Ryu in the upcoming 2 Blue Vortex chapters. And the simple fact that Kashin Koji believes that she stands a chance in that fight proves that she is very, very powerful. Maybe already more powerful than Fugaku. However, her feats aren't nearly as impressive as the list of feats that Boruto already has, which is why Naruto and Boruto are our number 3 entry on the
What? The 2 main characters of 2 back-to-back shows is number 3? I knew that I feel like Kaguya and Hagoromo are going to be listed somewhere. I would have expected them to be before both of these. And I'm still looking for that mysterious 4th one. But then tell me there's 2 people, 2 groups, duos, stronger than both Sasuke and Sarada and Naruto and Boruto. You gotta explain this. I can't wait to see what the surprise entry is.
This list.
Nick, how can the 2 MCs of 2 different mangas be at number 3?
There's some crazy strong parent-child duos in the Naruto universe, I'm sorry. But yes, like with Sasuke, we've already gone over Naruto's feats. But Boruto's feats at this point are objectively becoming more impressive than even Naruto's feats. As Boruto, mind you, was technically the person responsible for the slaying of Momoshiki in the first place, and while Boruto was basically completely uninvolved in the battle against Jigen and Ishiki, Boruto has become the sole pillar of strength holding ninja society up in 2 Blue Vortex, as Boruto is currently basically the only person who's been established to be able to 1v1 Shinju, as Boruto has already shown insane feats of strength in 2 Blue Vortex, like one-shotting Kawaki, one-shotting Code, defeating Hidari so completely that Hidari turned back into a Soul Thorn and being identified as a credible threat by Jura. That's into the fact that Boruto is doing all of this without accessing his karma marking, and that Boruto, rather casually, will not try and beat Mitsuki in full Snake Sage mode in a fight. And we should have known that Boruto was a menace when we saw in the early chapters of 2 Blue Vortex that Boruto considered going 1v4 against all of the Shinju. Now, it's important to note here that the combination of Naruto and Himawari would also be ridiculously powerful, but like I said, with Sasuke and Itachi, we're only going with the strongest sibling here. And while Himawari's got crazy potential, that potential certainly hasn't bypassed Boruto, at least yet. But since we're talking about powerful siblings, we might as well talk about our number 2 entry on the list, because at number 2, we got Hagoromo and Asura. Yes, you could absolutely make the argument that Indra is the more powerful of the 2 brothers,
Asura?
but I think we all understand that the reincarnation cycle has proven to us that Asura is always the more powerful reincarnation.
Okay, fair
because
enough.
of the power of friendship. Listen, I understand that Naruto and Boruto are the 2 MCs of their respective stories, but there is no reason, and I mean no,
to tell me that Asura and Hagoromo, maybe I'm tripping. Do y'all agree with this down below? Asura and Hagoromo in a fight against Naruto and Boruto, against Sasuke and Madara. I will even take a step back. Naruto, Minato. Because I feel like if everybody keeps using this excuse of, oh, Kakashi got the DMS. Okay, then give Naruto Baryon mode. And tell me how Baryon mode fares against those 2. If it's supposed to cut down literally half your life, and we've seen it work against Otsutsuki, so we know it's going to work against Hagoromo, tell me how Baryon mode's not cutting them down. You touch him, you lose half your life. He touches you, you lose half your life. You knock him out, cool, but you still lost half your life. And then you got to go continue with Boruto after that with his karma marking if he decides to use it.
no reason for us to believe that Naruto is stronger than Asura. Naruto is a reincarnation of Asura, and the filler showed us that Asura is able to do basically everything that Naruto was able to do. In fact, Asura created it. And mind you, Asura was doing it without being the Jinchuriki of Kurama, just raw chakra mechs based off nothing. And Hagoromo is obviously the Sage of Six Paths, the literal god of ninjas.
Maybe
a Ten-Tails Jinchuriki with access to the creation of all things. The reason that chakra exists in humans to this day. He is an extra-dimensional being that infinitely powered by the Pure Lands, Ninja Heaven, who's able to cross dimensions and give his power to beings in separate dimensions like Naruto and Sasuke. Power-ups, mind you, that infused them with so much power that they were able to battle against his very own mother and seal her. While yes, there's a solid possibility that both Naruto and Boruto have bypassed the strength of Hagoromo, there's really no way for us to prove that. And so, for now at least, they exist at the number 2 spot. But unfortunately, because Asura and Indra aren't as powerful as their grandmother, they're not going to be able to scratch the number 1 spot, which is obviously Kaguya and Hagoromo. Listen, Kaguya is the only Otsutsuki we've ever known to have children. And while Hamura could also possibly be placed in this conversation, as Hamura is kind of confirmed to have a Tenseigan, I think Hagoromo, the Sage of Six Paths and the God of Shinobi, is probably the stronger out of the 2 children that Kaguya had. And listen, what do I need to tell you about Kaguya that you haven't heard already? She was so powerful before eating a chakra fruit that she was able to rip Ishiki in half. And while yes, she caught him by surprise, still, she was able to do damage to Ishiki. She then ate a chakra fruit, became the pseudo god of the world. When she got sick of humanity, she cast Infinite Tsukiyomi, started building an army of white Zetsu to fight against the Otsutsuki clan, which she obviously believed that she could do if she was prepping for the battle. Was the only person that we've ever seen awaken a Rinne Sharingan, outside of Madara, who only awoke a Rinne Sharingan because of his connection to Kaguya. And while she's talked down on by other Otsutsukis like Momoshiki, Naruto, Sasuke, Hagoromo, and Hamura had to seal her because killing her just straight up wasn't an option. She's able to rip parts of dimensions to her current location, which is absolutely insane. Use several Kekemora, which is a combination of all 5 elemental nature chakras and yin and yang, like the expansive True Seeker orbs, the Sword of Nunabuko with Ash all-killing Bone. She's able to, like with all other Otsutskis, use Yamatsu Hirasaka, which allows for her to travel between dimensions with ease, and is the primordial mother of chakra on Earth. So yes, her and her son, who is the god of Shinobi on Earth, are the strongest parent-child duo in Naruto history. I know that's not exactly the most interesting outcome, but that's the truth of it. But I'm curious to hear from you.
I think that's very interesting because I think it could really spark up a conversation. Like, do you guys honestly down below believe that? And I think this one's probably one I'm gonna have the most to say on. Is I don't agree with that list. I don't. I'm glad we had 2 other people or 2 father-son duos from other villages make the list. Agree with that. Kakashi, guy, cool. I was a little bit worried, but now that I see you put there, I'm cool with the Sasuke, the Fugaku and Minato 7-6. I honestly might even say that I'm cool with Sasuke and Sakura because I don't believe in her power that much yet. I'm not a manga reader. I will go ahead and say that out now before I go and say anything else. So y'all, oh, that disgrace you, whatever. I'm putting them a little bit lower just off the feats that I know. I don't read the manga, but I have all the manga information. I mean, he breaks down almost every chapter. I've listened to other different Naruto creators, just anime creators, give their opinions and thoughts on where it's going, where their predictions and stuff. Just off of everything I've heard and learned, I would probably I'm cool with them still staying at 5. However, right after that is where I would put Indra, Ashura, and Hagoromo. Then it'd be Naruto and Boruto. And then, wait, did I say number 5 spot? I'm tripping. Hold on. 6, 7. So I have Sasuke, Fugaku, Minato there at 6 and 5. I gotta make sure I count this right. Whatever. Basically, y'all know what I'm saying. Kaguya and Hagoromo, Naruto, Boruto, and Sasuke and I'll even say Hagoromo and Ashura. Those should be my top 3s. If you have any order, it's kind of like the Kobe, LeBron, Jordan debate. As long as those are your top 3, you can argue them in any fashion. I'm cool with it. However, like I said, I do believe that Naruto and at least in my personal opinion, Naruto and Boruto should at least be number 2. It could possibly be number 1. That's being said is because, yes, it did take 3 of them to seal Kaguya. That was Naruto at a lot less strength. And we've seen Bariyama actually kill the person that she was only able to take half the body away from with a surprise attack. So that takes care of that. And then he would still have some of that to go help out Boruto, who should be able to at least hold his own against Hagoromo for a little bit to let his dad have time to get over there. But like I said, Bariyama solos just about everybody. Just how long can he stay into it? And you know, how long is the fight? And I mean, we saw a pretty decent fight there with Ishiki going back and forth, and he's struggling there a little bit trying to get his movements together. But I feel like in a more serious situation like that, especially if we're, like I said, if we're gonna keep giving Kakashi the DMS every time we talk about how strong that man is, I mean, we gotta start giving Naruto Bariyama then. That's just my first opinion. Because every time I hear, it's not even just him. It's like anytime I hear anybody argue, and it's not even people that's content creators. When I argue this with people that are just anime fans in real life, they always want to just throw out DMS like Kakashi gonna be able to use that thing in a full length battle for days on end, and then okay, cool. If we're gonna do that, then let me get my boy Naruto with days on end Bariyama, because that DMS probably lasted shorter, if not the same amount of time as Bariyama. If we're being honest, in actual time of the battle, it probably lasted exactly as long. And unlike being gifted to him by somebody that passed away, it was given to him by Kurama, who, yes, ended up needing to die for it to happen. But that's something that he could, like it's been shown right now, be collected back again and used again later, because obviously, as long as there's some energy of Kurama around, he can reform, and that's what he's reformed and done inside of Himawari. So Bariyama could be used later once he gets the rest of his body back, and if he chooses to do so again, it can be used again later. So unlike the DMS, which once it's gone, it was gone. That's just the only reason why I say like they could actually compete with that number 1 spot in my mind. So let me know down below though what you guys are rolling with. So if I remember the list correctly, we had the Sand Village, the Cloud Village, we had Kakashi, we had Guy, we had Fugaku, we had Minato, then he had Sasuke, Naruto, Ashura, Hagoromo, Naruto, Ashura, Sasuke, and then everything else kind of falls into place. After that, everything else I pretty much agree with. It's just that top 3, kind of a little bit, like I said, I even kind of want to put Sasuke above as well into that top 3 spot. I feel like that 3 and 4 spot could be argued too as well for similar reasons, because honestly, obviously we've seen Ashura, yes, be reincarnated and be stronger than the Ender incarnate, but that's also too something that Sasuke's gotten over. Sasuke no longer just relies on himself. He actually does utilize friendship to help him get stronger. So it's almost like he was Ender's incarnation, but also actually accepted and took in Ashura's teachings, making himself even a step stronger than a normal Ender reincarnate. So that's also why I think it could go above it a little bit better. But let me know down below, man, what you guys are rocking with. I'm going to hop off my soapbox for today. Long little outro here, but a lot to talk about, a lot to break down here today. I'd love to hear you guys' comments down below and chop it up with you guys down there. Like and subscribe on the way to the video if you guys enjoyed me, the video, the video, and I'll catch you guys in the next video, man. It's me, Boy Sean Smooth, aka Black Avatar King Leo. I can't believe he made the list twice and only cracked the top 3 once. That's tough. See y'all later. Peace.